Panther Nation podcast. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. Oh, cut it. Cut right. And I would like to introduce one of the hottest podcasts in Carolina history. Let's go. Yo, talk, let's chat. We got time to chop it up. Talking analytics and fantasy draft, you know what's up. Panther Nation representing, cause this is where we talk that. Talk that's so incredible, make them rewind that talk back. Pause. Talking Panthers football, we discussing it all. On and off the field, you know exactly who to call. You know we the #1 podcast. Competition is non-existent, you need to stop that. Pause. It's an honor to be a Panther fan, pause. At Bank of America, that is where we ball. Coming to the jungle, then you gonna feel the pause. Winning the trophy for the city, it is the call. Black, white, and blue, we going Carolina strong. And this is the conversation where everyone belongs. Discussing all the numbers and topics, you know we got it. We the hottest podcast, and we popping. Let's go.
QueenCityPodcastNetwork.com.
Yo, what's cracking, Panther Nation? It's your boy Rashad, one half of P&P, and Dave will be here in just a minute. Obviously, he has some things he had to do, take care of some business, and he'll be right on. So don't worry, don't fret, all you fans of Dave. He will be there or be here in just a little bit. Today's show is going to be all about the salary cap. We're going to take a look at some of those contracts. Some of them were posted. I have some thoughts on a few of them. Kind of see where we are from a salary cap perspective, how that's going to impact us. And then we're going to take a look at some of what's left. Like after free agency has occurred, where do we go? Where do we go from here? How is this going to work out? How many holes do we have to fill? Pause. It's interesting. It's going to be very interesting as we go through this. Kind of shape where you think the Panthers are going to go in the draft. A lot of content, a lot of good stuff. This is kind of the nuts and bolts of the offseason. This is my favorite time. This is kind of one of my favorite shows. Again, I don't expect the most views because not everybody is into the salary cap, but this is my favorite thing to do as a podcaster. And hopefully, if you don't know anything about the salary cap, you'll learn a little bit. And I'll do the best I can. You know what I mean? So, again, shout out to Dave. He'll be here in just a minute. Really quick, my weekend was great. Thanks for asking. My weekend was awesome. I chilled out at the house. My family went out of town, so I was kind of solo by myself, kind of had some time to myself, which is always great. So I was just chilling, man. Got some stuff done around the house. Got some other things, that needed to be done. And I also, went to the ACC championship game, saw Duke take on Louisville. That was dope. So shout out to the Blue Devils. You know what I mean? If you know, you know. And shout out to the Tar Heels too for getting in the tournament. They snuck in there, but they played tonight too. So salute to them, salute to the Tar Heels, salute to Duke, salute to Clemson, salute to all the local teams. Shout out to High Point University as well. They're dancing. Hopefully they can get that upset. I think they play Vanderbilt. But I'm excited, man. I'm excited for the March Madness. I think it's going to be a really good tournament, really good teams out there. I'm excited for it. I'm watching Alabama State right now take on St. Francis. This is a little barn burner here, 48-44 in the second half. So this is dope. So, again, shout out to, everybody that's tuning in with your boy. And we're going to get right to the content, man. We're going to get right into the content because I ain't about to talk your head off. Let's get into it. All right, here we go. So if you know, stay on the prowl. You know what I mean? That's our thing around these parts. The first piece of news we got to talk about, though, because, on the last show at the end of the show, it was some news out there that, how the streets be talking. The streets be talking. And so, word on the street, there's a trade in the works, and it still could happen. Right, Brandon Ayuk is the other guy that has been tied to the Carolina Panthers, but there is one guy that is off the board, and that is T. Higgins. T. Higgins, the Bengals went on a shopping spree this weekend and paid everybody except for Henderson. They paid everybody. T. Higgins got the bag. T. Higgins, excuse me, got the bag. Jamar Chase got the bag. Jamar Chase, the highest paid non-quarterback in history. Miles Garrett took that from Miles Garrett real quick. T. Higgins got the bag right along with him. You know, not the biggest bag. I'm quite sure that T. Higgins could have got a little bit more money in the open market, but hey, that's the cards. You know what I mean? The Bengals held all of the leverage with the, you know, with the 50-year option, all that stuff. And, you know, Joe Burrow wanted to keep the clan together. He's been very vocal about keeping the team together, keeping the offense together. And he talked about other teams and how the Eagles do it and how all these other teams are able to do it. So why can't the Bengals do it? Well, he got his wish. And, you know, the Bengals core is kept together, although they're spending, I believe, what's the stat? I think they spent $125 million on 3 players, on Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins, which is crazy. It's crazy. Shout out to A-Cash, man. A-Cash says the Bengals are going to have be the first team to have the 33rd ranked defense. Yes, and Henderson is apparently going to be on the market or available for trade, whatever they're going to do with him. You know, they're going to try to get something back for him. But yeah, they obviously going to be one of the teams to go all defense because they got to get some defensive players. It's possible. They can do it. That's how you play the game. If you're going to spend all your money in offense, that means you gotta spend all your draft capital on defense. That's how it works. And hopefully they got good coaching that can develop it. But that's kind of the price you pay. That's the price you pay. You know what I mean? So yeah, shout to Dr. Midnight. 44% of their cap tied up in 3 players. Wow. It's crazy. Speaking of A-Cash, real quick, shout out to all the folks that won the Jalen Coker autograph signed 8x10. Those have been shipped out. I shipped them out yesterday, so you should be getting them in the mail. And I do apologize for the delay. It just takes me time to get all my stuff organized, to find that little time to do these other things. So I thank you for your patience, because y'all have not bothered me about it. I do greatly appreciate that. But they are on the way. Shout out to all the folks that participated in the Jalen Coker fundraiser, and A-Cash for being one of the top. He was the top contributor for the other fundraisers that we're doing. So again, salute to everybody. Appreciate all your contributions, and those 8x10s are on the way. So Knucklehead K, if Knucklehead K is in the building, you are the only person. I do not have your address. If you go back and watch this, or if somebody sees Knucklehead K in the chat later, let them know, or let her know that I gotta get her address. So you can send it to PantherNationPodcast@gmail.com. All right. So shout out to everybody. Again, appreciate y'all. Those joints are in the mail and they are on the way. All right. So let's go ahead and get into this content. Okay. So we missed out on T. Higgins. But y'all don't fret. Everybody pump the brakes. Everybody relax. Nobody panic. Why? Because we got David Moore. We got David Moore returning. The guy that is very familiar with Dave Canales' system is back in the building. We got David Moore, not quite the guy that we were asking for, not the top end wide receiver 1, but we got David Moore. We got King Darius says the next best thing. We got David Moore. Okay, so shout out to David Moore. You know what I mean? We picked him up. I'm joking, by the way. But we got David Moore to round out the wide receiver room, and that basically brings back everybody that we had last year. And again, I'm gonna save my thoughts on this because I'm gonna save it for the team need conversation. Because boy, I think it would be a huge mistake if we don't add anybody else to that room. And I'm not just talking about somebody that's just solid, just another David Moore-esque player. That's not what I'm talking about. I think we need to add a very good player to this room. That you can find one in the draft. Certainly, it doesn't have to be Tet. I know some people don't like Tet. Doesn't have to be Tet. I think you can. There's some guys that I like a little bit later that you could probably get and still be a playmaker in this offense. But I think it would be a huge mistake if we just march in with this group. You know what I mean? I think we got it. And y'all know how I feel about Coker. Y'all know how I feel about some of these the wide receivers. I like them a lot. I think we should not give up on Leggett. I think Leggett still needs to be developed, but I think it would be a grave mistake to not add to this room. But David Moore, congratulations. I do not know what kind of deal he signed. I can't imagine it's a huge deal. Probably got a one. I don't even know what the terms are. I have no idea. All I know is that it happened. If anybody knows the terms of the contract, please let me know. I'm gonna do a quick X search to see if I can find it. If not, we will move on. But I wish I did know the terms of this contract, whether it's a 1-year deal or not. So I'm gonna do a quick X search. See if I can find it real quick. David Moore. I think he got a 1-year deal. Yep. Okay, so I see it. Thank you. I didn't see in the chat because I'm looking, but it's a 1-year deal according to Joe Person. That's all I know. That's all I really need to know was a 1-year deal. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for saying in the chat. I was on another window. My bad. But yeah, 1-year deal for David Moore, about what I expected. And that even speaks to my point even more, right? We need to get some future talent in the building. David Moore on a 1-year deal. Thielen on, I believe, on the last year, his deal. So yeah, it's just we need to continue to add to that room. Okay. All right. So David Moore, congratulations. But that, with respectfully, not quite the receiver that we were looking for. I think I don't know if we swung and missed on Ayuk and some of those other guys, but that is not quite the receiver we were looking for, with all due respect. All right, so let's get into these contracts, man. Let's talk about these contracts. We're going to break down some contracts, and then we're going to get into team needs. So let's talk about Tershawn Wharton first. Tershawn Wharton, defensive end, coming from the Kansas City Chiefs, got a nice bag. And I got to be honest with you, we're going to take a look at how this breaks out. And I apologize if it's a little small, but I had to get everything on the screen here. But the first cap hit is always good. I like how they always, they backload these contracts. So the first year cap hit is really small. As you can see, the first year the first year cap hit is $6.5 million right here. And then, wow, does it increase? I mean, I was a bit surprised by this. I'm not gonna lie. Tershawn Wharton getting nearly $20 million in the next 2 years, so 2026 and 2027. That kind of caught me off guard. I ain't gonna lie, that's a lot of money for a guy. I'm not sure. Again, maybe I'm not well versed in his game like that. But this seems to be a lot of money. Chat, let me know. Am I right? Do y'all like this? Seems to be a lot of money for Tershawn Wharton in 2026 and 2027. 18 million and 19 million, respectfully. That's a lot of money. I did not expect him to get paid that much. But it kind of is what it is. I mean, that's the cost of doing business when you're Carolina Panthers. You got to pay to play. You know what I mean? But that's a lot of money. I mean, when you're talking about, 8.5 sacks. 8.5 sacks. I think that was in the season, including the postseason. That's a lot of money, bro. I expect a lot of production from that the next 2 years. And there's no real easy out. I mean, you can see the out after 2026, but that's after a pretty big, a pretty big investment, right? This contract, and please hear me out when I say this. Please hear me out when I say this, because I'm not calling him Shy Tuttle. I'm not calling him Shy Tuttle at all. But I think he's going to be better than Shy Tuttle. But what I'm saying is this contract is giving a little bit of Shy Tuttle vibes. Is that you picking up a guy and you expecting him to be a decent contributor, but he may not. You know what I mean? He may not contribute like that, and you're giving a lot of money that you may have to restructure a little bit later. You may have to finagle the cap to kind of get out of this deal. I just think it's a lot of money. I would have liked to given this money to a little more proven product, if that makes sense. To me, this is a contract that somebody proven gets. This is not a guy that is, again, I'm trying to say this without being disrespectful, but I don't know his game like that. You know what I mean? But y'all are right. I see what y'all saying in the chat. This is kind of the cost you got to pay the cost. You got to pay the cost to play. You know what I mean? So this is what the Carolina Panthers have to do. They have to overpay guys, and that's just the name of the game. So I think if I'm going to be honest, this is it is an overpay, but you got to do what you got to do. You got to do what you got to do. And like some of y'all saying it's the Panthers tariff, it's the Panthers tax. Y'all are right. Y'all are right. Y'all are right. You know what I mean? So, so yeah, I mean, he's somebody says, yeah, the dead cap isn't bad after 27. Yeah, that's why the out is 2027. So we can walk. It's basically a 2-year deal. You can walk away, but that's a hefty price to kind of figure out. 18 million is a lot of money for a deal that you know, a guy that you need to figure. You got to figure out. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. It's okay. It's okay. I'm not going crazy. I'm not saying the Panthers, this is the worst contract ever. I'm just being a realist and saying that it's a slight overpay, but the Panthers did what the Panthers had to do, given the state of the defense and the talent level of the defense last year. We had to do what we had to do. So it's all good. It's all good. Okay. All right. Trill says he was a beast against the Bills, and that's all I know about him. It's you and me both. You and me both. We're going to have to see. We're going to have to see. We got to see. All right, let's keep it moving, man. Let's keep it moving. That's Tashawn Wharton. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. Michael Jackson or Mike Jack. Yeah, I mean, this is again familiar face to the Carolina Panthers. Very low cap hit in 2025, 3.7 million. I like that, and I like his cap hit in 2026, 6.8 million. To me, that's solid CB2 numbers. Even given that you paid Jaycee Horn, you know, what you paid him, I think that this is a solid deal for Michael Jackson. I think I love everything about this deal. I have zero complaints about Mike Jack. I like it that it's a 2-year deal. I think you rewarded him for what he did last year, and you're rewarding him to continue to play like he played. This is a good deal, really good deal. I love this deal a lot. I'm not gonna trip at all. Not tripping at all with this contract. In fact, I wouldn't have been mad if they gave him a couple more million, to be honest. Good job, Mike Jack. And good to see him back. I'm glad we got our bookend cornerback. So salute to Mike Jackson. He said he gives me butterflies. Give me butterflies the way he bats passes down. Okay, I like that. Butterflies, like that. I like that reference. It's a great song, by the way. Butterflies is a dope, underrated Mike Jack song. If you know, you know. All right. Yeah, no complaints about this. Good deal here. And listen, it says that we can walk away after 2026. Potential out. Look at the dead cap. As someone stated on the last contract, you look at the dead cap, $2 million. So basically, it's a 1-year deal for all intents and purposes. If he plays well, you run it back in 2026. If not, and his play starts to fall off, you can walk away after 2026. You know what I mean? So all good. So I'm not mad. Not mad at all. All right, let's keep it moving. Pat Jones. This is a 2-year contract. Base salary, again, very, very low for that first year. I like that a lot. $4.8 million cap hit in 2025. And then it does increase to about $10 million in 2026. Again, it's a bit high. That's a bit. $10 million for rotational guy. That's a lot. That's a lot. When I'm just solely looking at the cap hit. The overall deal itself, $7.5 million a year, not bad. Not bad. Because his cap hit is so low in 2025, obviously you're gonna have to pay more in 2026. That's just the way the contract has to be structured to make it balance out. You know what I mean? So I'm not overly mad, not mad at all. I do like the 2-year deal, but that cap hit is gonna be staring at me in 2026 if he don't produce something. I'm like, man, why are we paying this man $10 million in 2026? You know what I mean? So, you know, it's one of those things. You know what I mean? It's just it is what it is. You know what I mean? It's just we gotta pay it. Edge rushers not looking so hot. You know what I mean? We're gonna take a look at it later because spoiler alert. That is a position of need. Edge. And he still is a position of need, even with signing Pat Jones. So it's a position of need. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. I don't know. So again, this might be a little Panthers tariff too. You got to pay up a little bit. You know what I mean? And shout to Wanham too. We still got Wanham. So it's all good. It's all good. If he doesn't see, but this is the thing. We got to get, you see how we just, let me show you how quickly this adds up, right? Oh, if he doesn't play well, we could cut him for $5 million. Okay. So what if Mike Jackson doesn't play well? Okay, that's another $2 million. That's $7 million in dead cap. Oh, well, what if Tashawn doesn't play well? Okay, that's another $4 million. You see how that adds up? Like, we got to get in the habit of paying the right people. And I'm not saying any of these people are the wrong people. I'm just saying that, yeah, that dead cap, we got to stop it with that. That's how we end up in situations where we can't pay guys that when we really need them. It's because we're having to pay so much money in dead cap because we got to cut this guy and cut that guy. No, let's just pay the right people the first time and not have to worry about it. And of course, some cuts are going to happen. Some cuts are going to happen. You know what I mean? That's just the name of the game. You hopefully you'll win more than you lose. It's just a crapshoot at the end of the day. But we got to get in the habit of paying the right people. You know what I mean? So Pat Jones, another one. Another guy I don't really know too much about. He's not the guy that I was like, oh, okay, let's go out and sign him for $7 million per year. That's just not. He wasn't on my radar. It wasn't on my radar. But okay, Eric says, here's what Eric's saying. Let's listen to what Eric says. Pat Jones is a good, quote unquote, let's put the quote unquote, good signing. He's actually, quote unquote, actually better than DJ Wanham, and quote unquote could give him competition for the starting spot. Excuse me. If he's better than Wanham, I'll take it. What does produce look like to me stats wise? That's a good question. For Pat Jones, Pat, you got it. What's his? Let me see what his stats were last year. Let me. That's a good question. I'm gonna answer that question in just a second, because I got to do some quick history lessons on my boy real quick. Pat Jones. Yeah, you know I mean, Pat Jones. Let me do a quick rundown of my man. What's producing to me? Producing to me, he had 7 sacks last year. I need at least 9.5 sacks. I need at least 9.5 sacks from Pat Jones to earn that contract for me. 9.5 sacks is what I need. And if you better than Wanham, then that's cool, because I think Wanham could do that in a full season. Wanham healthy, I think, can produce that. See, my man says unlikely. Unlikely. Hey, look, you asked me the question. I answered it. So here's the thing. Marcus. I know what Clowney brings. What Clowney doesn't produce in sacks, he does produce from a run stopping standpoint. So I'm not looking for Clowney to produce in sacks, because I know what else he brings to the table. Pat, I believe, and let me go back to my research real quick, because producing doesn't always equate to sacks. I know what Clowney can do in the run game. You know what I mean? So hold on. Let me check my handy dandy stat book here. Let me see. Let me pull up Pat Jones. All right, Pat Jones. Hey, what's good with you, man?
What's up, man? Sorry I'm late. Yeah.
Okay.
Crazy.
Oh, my fault.
Are you good?
Yeah. No, so he actually is solid in the run game. So my bad. Solid in the run game too. So if he is solid in the run game, I'm willing to reduce that sack counter if he's solid in the run game. I think if he can be a solid run defender and give me 6 to 7 sacks, I'd be happy with that. But if he was brought here to be a pass rush specialist type guy, I need to see 9.5, bro.
Pat Jones. Look, man, anybody can help the situation we had last year. Okay, anybody.
Okay, Dave. Before we get into these contracts, do you want to go back and talk about any of the stuff that we talked about previously?
I got a phone call on the way. But I'll tell you what, man, the whole T. Higgins situation.
Yeah,
I'm glad that's over. I'm tired of y'all talking about this.
So you didn't believe the streets?
Hell no, I didn't believe the streets. Cause I ain't like the roads they were on. I ain't believing the streets. I wasn't feeling the streets. I think the streets got oversaturated with speculation.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I think the streets got oversaturated with speculation. So, you know, we can't be so enamored with these streets. But we'll see, man. I know y'all was so thrilled about David Moehrig signing. You know,
yeah, they were elated.
We got a wide receiver one, so y'all could be quiet about all this drafting a wide receiver at 8 nonsense. So, you know, I told y'all.
Yes. Shout out to Mike. He said, "I told you." Hey, sometimes the streets be right. You got to be careful with the streets, though.
I know you got to be gentle with the streets. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be sensitive to the streets. You know, I know we're so enamored with trying to get another wide receiver that we forget that we just drafted one in the first round last year. You just don't like the results that we got. The fan base wasn't a fan of the results, and I get it. But at the same time, like, they expect us to take one at 8 is kind of crazy considering we had one of the worst defenses in NFL history. I don't need to stop hating that wide receiver at 8. I got a better, you know what? I'm looking at y'all chat. I'm going to have fun with y'all for a little while. I got a better thing. I know we got to move on. I get it. I got a better thing. Do you trust this regime to draft another wide receiver in the first round? Let's go with that tape. You do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think you got to keep going. So here's the.
I just don't want to do it in the first, bro. I don't have a problem with us drafting one. I just not at 8. Not at 8.
So here's my thing is that as we can all see, wide receivers ain't hitting the market like that. You're not gonna be able to get a true wide receiver one. You have to draft one. I don't care where you get it. You have to draft your wide receiver one.
Oh no, and look, let me be clear. You can find wide receiver ones in any round in this draft. You can any round. You can find
it. Potentially, yeah. That's true.
And so for me,
including the first round.
Sure. But I just think, considering what we need, I think that's malpractice trying to take one in the first. I think it's malpractice what the Bengals did too. Out here signing Chase and Higgins. What about the offensive line? What about their defense? They're not going to be able to do it by themselves. Them 3 guys taking over almost half of the cap ain't gonna do it by themselves. And at some point, the other starters and other role players gotta want to get their bag too. They're gonna be out here still gonna be out here with the B team for everything else, or the C squad. Like, you know, there's a cap for a reason. But some of y'all don't think the cap exists, so I gotta be careful. I had that whole back and forth on Twitter too. Some of y'all don't think the cap exists, so I gotta be careful. I know this is a solid cap episode.
It certainly exists, but go ahead.
No, yeah, I agree it does.
Shout out to Drew. Dave, what you think about Ocho Trace? I'm assuming he means David Moore.
Oh, David. I mean, wide receiver 5. I joke wide receiver 1 in the chat, but wide receiver 5. Y'all really want AU? How much y'all willing to give up for AU?
That's the thing, bro. Listen, that's the thing. I just said it earlier. Is that you either to get a wide receiver 1, you're gonna have to give up a lot of draft capital and give up a lot of money to get one, or you have to draft one. You have to draft your wide receiver 1, and we just have not done it in a long time. And so we have to keep drafting until we get it. You got to keep drafting. Got to. I don't care where it is.
And let me be clear. I'm fine with them drafting one, just not at 8. Like, that's just been my thing. Just not at 8. If they're gonna draft one, cool, but not at 8. And you know, I know y'all mad. Y'all can be mad, and it's cool. Y'all can be mad. It's fine. So, it is what it is. So we'll see.
Oh, all right. Let's keep the conversation going around these
Yeah,
contracts.
let's keep going.
Dave, real quick, we talked about. I'll go back just a second so you can see. We talked about Tershawn Wharton. I thought it was a slight overpay when you start to look at 2026 numbers and 2027 numbers. Big jump there for a little bit of I'm not gonna say unknown product, but somebody that has not proven themselves worthy of nearly $20 million per year. That's a lot of money. In the next
How
3
many
years.
how many games did we win last year again?
Shit, I don't remember.
Like 5, right?
Yeah.
5, right?
Yeah.
You got to overpay. Look, if you're trying to fix a problem, you got to overpay, guys.
That's what I said. So I agree. I agree. I mean, you got to bend the knee. You got to bend the knee.
Until we get into a consistent winning formula, folks, you got to get to the point where folks want to stay here. And we're not there yet because we haven't been winning. So I understand it might be a slight overpay, but I'm glad it's just a slight, not a major. You know what I'm saying? So I'm cool with it. Yeah. Like Vic said, the Panthers tax.
Yeah, Panthers tariff is what they said, Dave.
The Panthers tariff. I don't want to hear the word tariff right now. Okay. Okay.
I know. Michael Jackson was the other one. I thought this contract was pretty solid. I love the way Mike Jack was rewarded for his deal. For his play last year, I mean, and got a little bit of a bag, so I like that. This is a solid contract in my opinion.
It ain't off the wall, bad or dangerous, man. No. That's good stuff.
Oh, I see what you did.
Come on, good Dave. Stuff.
Come on, Dave. I like that. I like
man.
that.
Just saying.
All right, Pat Jones was one again. I thought was a slight overpay. But some are saying he's better than Wanham. You know what I mean? So if that's what we're gonna get, and we saw what Wanham could do on a short year. He didn't play, for the first couple of games. And when he did play, he was solid. And if Pat Jones is better or just as good as Wanham, then I think this might be a pretty fair deal. But Wanham is not getting, I don't think, anywhere near what Pat is getting over the life of his contract. I can double check that. I could be wrong.
I got to step off for a second. I'll be right back.
Yep. I'm just looking at Wanham's contract real quick because I don't know what he's getting. Just to compare. DJ Wanham is getting so DJ Wanham cap hit is for this year is $7 million. So yeah, Wanham is getting paid more than Pat Jones this year, but then basically Wanham becomes an unrestricted free agent in 2026, and then we'll continue to roll with Pat. So I see what they did. They kind of staggered it a little bit. So that kind of makes sense. It kind of makes sense the way they structured it. So not mad. Not mad. All right, let's keep moving to the next contract. Next contract is Bobby Brown. So Bobby Brown, the third, he got, again, very low cap hit in 2025, $3.1 million, another backloaded contract. But this is about right. You're paying for a nose tackle. He's getting $8 million and $9 million respectively in 2026 and 2027. I'm not mad at this one at all either. I think if one said it was a slight overpay, I would not argue too much with you. But again, nose tackle, that's another one where it's tough to find. Nose tackles are tough to find. And so when you get one, you got to keep them and you got to pay for them. So Bobby Brown, the third, I like this contract, not mad at it at all. And so I think this is solid. Again, you look at his dead cap in 2027, if we're paying attention to that, $1.8 million. So again, these are basically 2 years. This is, for all intents and purposes, a 2-year deal for you to walk away potentially in 2027. But again, that does continue to add up. So I'm not mad. I'm not mad. So this, again, I like this contract. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. All right, let's keep it going. Brady Christensen. This is a solid deal for Brady Christensen. I thought he could have tested the open market and got bigger money elsewhere, but he didn't. He came back to the Panthers. He's got a $1.3 million cap hit, and I ain't mad at this. I'm not mad at this. I'm curious to see what he does moving forward. after this, because I think that's where it gets critical. You need that swing tackle, swing guy. Brady Christensen can play across every position across the offensive line, so he's critical. He's critical to have, and I'm curious to see how they fix that. Are they going to draft somebody to kind of fill that role? Because Cade Mays, I think, also is a swing guy too. So I think that again could be interesting how they handle that. How old is BC? Great question. I don't know how old Brady Christensen is. I think he's like 28. I could probably look these up quicker. Yeah, he's 28 years old. 28 years old. So shout out to Brady Christensen. So again, not a bad deal. And I'm curious to see what happened in the open market for him and why he decided to come back for the Panthers on a 1-year deal. I'm that's mind-boggling to me. I know he dealt with some injuries, got a little bit of an injury history, but I thought he would be good enough. I know people don't like his arm length. He is a guy that has shorter arms, so that's why he slid inside the guard, but proved that he still can play tackle. He did very well playing left tackle and right tackle for us. So I don't know. I thought he would have been a little bit more valuable out on the open market. But hey, the market says and the market dictates what you are. And they showed that he's only worth $2.6 million. All right, let's keep it moving. Austin Corbett. So Austin Corbett is another guy. This makes sense as to why his contract is a 1-year deal. 1 year, $3 million. His cap hit is $5.8 million, and that's due in part to the voided years that he has to pay. You can see he signed a $3 million deal, but then there's a restructure proration that's added to his contract. And so that's why his contract is his cap hit is a little bit higher. Also, you got to speak to the voided years. So there's voided years added to the back end of this contract. So hypothetically, if he does not play with the Carolina Panthers next year, we will still have to pay him $4.5 million. You know what I mean? So I'm curious to see how they figure this one out. Because I'm not interested in paying guys that are not on the Carolina Panthers roster. And that's where we get, and we're talking about paying the right people the right amount of money. You know what I mean? So you got to pay to play. That's part of it. You know what I mean? So not mad. I'm curious to see who's going to get the starting reps, right? I'm sure if Austin Corbett is healthy, they probably will roll with him, but I think Cade Mays is going to push him. Cade Mays, I'm a big fan of Cade, the way he closed out the year. I think he's deserving. And again, I think he would make the roster build a little bit easier because he's a restricted free agent, right? So we own the rights to his contracts, and he has to negotiate with us, basically. So I like Cade Mays as a long-term solution more than Corbett. All right, let's keep it moving. All right, Sam Martin. So we got to talk punters, right? We got to talk punters. Sam Martin, $1.6 million deal, 35 years old. For 35-year-old punter, is kind of up there, but punters can play to their 62 years old. So all they're doing is kicking the football, right? So I think they can play for a long time. I don't really have any thoughts on this, but I had to talk about it since it was a contract that was signed and it was added to the roster. So that is Sam Martin's contract. Dave, you want to talk about Sam Martin's contract?
No. Sorry, guys. I had an incident that I had to go deal with involving calling my son's mother. So let's keep it going. We ain't got to talk about a punter's contract. I know you weren't the biggest fan of Hecker because he was kind of mid last year. He's cheaper than Hecker. That's why we signed him.
Yep. So the next contract that we got to talk about is Christian Roseboom. Excuse me. I added into his name. Christian Roseboom. So this is a guy got a $2.5 million contract. Not mad at this at all. This is about what he should get for a rotational, maybe potentially a starting inside linebacker. Depends on how you feel about Tre'von Wallace. So my bad, y'all. This game got me distracted a little bit because Alabama State St. Francis game is crazy.
Who's winning?
It's tied up with 31 seconds left.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's crazy. So my bad. I'm a little distracted, but my bad. So Christian Roseboom, I think it's very solid. Not mad at this. You got to pay to play. He played a lot of snaps last year, so I'm not mad at this contract at all. He says it's more of a special teams contract, but he played a lot of snaps last year, a lot. He played a lot of snaps. Like got a lot of tackles last year too. Yeah, I mean, so you got basically a guy with a lot of experience for the low. You know what I mean? So we'll see about Roseboom, and we'll see if he is going to be a starter or not, or a rotational guy, potential special teamer too. You know what I mean? So Dave, any thoughts on Christian Roseboom?
No, and I agree. He's going to likely be a special teamer more than anything else for us.
135 tackles in 11 games.
Oh, this is the 135 tackle guy.
Yeah.
The Rams really, for the price, I think this is very reasonable. I don't have an issue with how much we're paying him. This could end up being a steal if he shows up as that guy, and maybe like with some more coaching, he can improve upon it. Because the Rams weren't the biggest fan of him, which was kind of odd. So
maybe he was out of position a lot, which is what led to all those tackles. We don't know. But ACAS says, "What the hell? First shot was disrespecting the punter. Now Dave is. Punters are people too. I demand justice for the punters, Dave. ACAS, come on, man.
There's nobody that gives more justice than the punters than me. So what are you talking about? I am a punter advocate. I just feel like we know why we signed him because we didn't want to pay the other guy. Like we know why we signed him.
Yeah.
No disrespect to the punter. I'm team punter around here, okay? Let's not do that.
Shout out to Christian Roseboom, man. I think it is linebacker is definitely a position of you can say need. Oh, that's a foul. Wow. This game's crazy. My bad if I get distracted towards the end of this.
I just tuned in, man.
Yeah, this game's crazy. Don't tell me what happens if you might be ahead of me. But anyway, shout out to Christian Roseboom. Again, I think this is a solid signing. Again, it's familiar with the defense as well. Familiar with the defense. All right, let's keep it moving. All right, so this is where we stand from a salary cap perspective overall, right? And like I told y'all on the last video or the last stream, we talked about 2026. And if I recall correctly, we were sitting at about 114 million in cap space in 2026. And I told y'all not to get excited about that because all those contracts that we signed are going to eat away from that. You know what I mean? So, and that's what happened. Now we're down to 70 from 114 million to 78 million. So not a lot of space. Not a lot of space at all. You know, it is a lot of space, but we signed a lot of guys, and I don't think we're done. You know what I mean? We still gotta sign the rookies. You still gotta sign. There's a couple contracts just to put a little asterisk next to the 24 million that we have. There's two contracts that are not a part of this 24 million. One is Tre'von Moehrig's contract details have not been released yet, and my guy from Dallas, the running back.
Rico,
yeah. He has not been added either. So he got a 1 year up to $6 million contract. So neither one of those contracts are added. So this number is going to drop even more. You know what I mean? So just keep that in mind. I think we're in a good spot from a cap. Oh, he missed.
Oh, you're ahead of me.
Hold on. Oh, he stole it. Oh, my goodness. Yo, this game is crazy, bro. This game.
And that's one of their best players right there, Matt Locke.
This game is crazy.
That was on the free throw line. One of their best players.
This game is crazy, bro. That last sequence was wild.
Oh,
my man. Shout out to ACAS says ADHD. That's funny. That's
wow. Funny. Oh no.
Yeah, that's crazy, bro.
I'm behind, but oh my God.
All right. Malik says, he says, I'm not taking no edge rusher that might give us 2 sacks over return on. I think it's return on investment for the safety for. Oh, are you talking about Eman Rory? Yeah, Eman Rory. That's what you meant. Rory. Eman Rory. For the safety for South Carolina. I seen the tape on Walker. Doesn't see splash. Don't see the splash. I got you, bro. I mean, I see that. And I'm starting to see a lot of people talk about walking away from, hey, I don't really like Walker like that. I'm not a fan of Walker. I want to go elsewhere. I want to go safety. I want to go Mikael Williams. There's a lot of different chatter going on about the pick number 8 and what we should do.
All right. I want to respond to shout out to LJ for the super chat. Dave, we've already wasted 2 years. How long are you willing to wait to see Bryce ceiling? We keep repeating history. Did the same with Cam. Cam never had an offensive line that Bryce got right now. He's never had a line as good as the one that Bryce currently has. Never. So let's go there. Cam had a pretty damn good defense too. Bryce had the worst in the league, in league history.
Oh wow. That is crazy, Dave. March Madness is upon us, bro. That is wild.
I ain't seen it yet, but we're about to see it right now. 3.4 seconds left.
Yo, that is crazy.
I'm about to see it right now, man.
That is crazy, dog. Yo, my fault, man. If I know this is the Panthers pod, but bro, this sequence.
Oh my God.
Wow. That is crazy, bro. It ain't over though. They still got 1 second. Was it a foul too?
I don't know if it was a foul. I don't got the audio on, so I have no idea.
Yo, that is crazy. They pulled the Duke.
Like, and the thing, folks got to remember, Cam didn't start having any type of like leverage and playoff promise to the 3rd season of his career. So, like, we're about to go into year 3 with Bryce. So I don't understand why we're out here saying that the Panthers ain't doing what they're supposed to do. I understand folks want a wide receiver guys, but come on, man. Cam didn't have a shortage of weapons when he in his first 2 years. The dude had Greg Olsen, Jeremy Shockey, and Steve Smith Sr. Like, he wasn't a shortage of weapons, but they still weren't winning games. Okay? They weren't winning. Like, that's just the reality of it. They had to fix the defense. But folks, when I say it's insanity. They had to fix the defense. They didn't start winning till the defense got better. So how about we fix the defense? 2011 line was it was decent. My point is that I don't think Cam's ever had a line that a line as good as the one that Bryce had last season. Shall you disagree or am I tripping?
What'd you say?
Cam. See, you tripping.
Nah,
See,
I know my bad. I was watching the game.
No, it's fine.
Game is over with. So I'm
yeah,
good.
the game's over. Yeah. They didn't even hit a rim. Yeah, that's
all
good.
right. What was you
Shout
saying,
out
bro?
State. Did Cam ever have an offensive line as good as what Bryce had last season?
I mean, we don't have to guess. I mean, we can actually go look and say.
No, but I'm just your opinion, right? Because this here annoys me because we're out here worried about the wide receiver situation when Cam had weapons when he first got into the league. Like, Cam wasn't short of weapons when he got into the league. He had running backs, he had wide receivers, he had tight ends. And they still weren't winning because the defense was atrocious. It was bad when he first got in the league. Now, once they started building the defense, then they started making playoff appearances.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think we got to walk and chew gum at the same time. Like,
I'm with you.
We need to be able to build the defense, but the problem is we overcorrect, right? This is what's happening right now. If you look at the Panthers, right, you're pouring all the resources into the defense. Cool, yes, the defense needs a lot of resources.
But the thing is, they put an investment for the offensive line. So they're doing
overcorrection.
I just think that we have a habit. I just don't like the Cam comparison. I
I mean, it's valid. It's valid to an extent, right? It's valid to an extent, right? So, like, the result though are the same. Like, we're not hoisting championship. So, like, So you gotta screw the comparisons to Cam. We gotta compare ourselves to actual champions and what the
No, I'm
champions
with
have
you.
been. And
I'm
you
with you.
need, bro, you need weapons. You need to have a weapons. You need to have you need to have several viable weapons on offense, bro. You can't, and you gotta have a defense. I'm not saying completely ignore it either.
How
But
did
you gotta have viable
how did the
weapons.
Eagles win that Super Bowl? The Eagles won that Super Bowl because Patrick Mahomes couldn't do nothing all day.
Yeah, but bro, don't say that. Like they had Saquon. Like, let's not do that, bro. The
Saquon didn't really have. All right, let's keep it real.
They have him, and you have to account for him. It's not that he didn't do anything. You have to account for him. He's a weapon that you have to account for. That matters too. You know what I mean? Like they got AJ Brown. They have guys, bro.
No, they got guys.
Let's not do that.
They had guys, but it goes back to the point. If you're talking about winning chips, like you still got to have a pretty damn good defense to win the Super Bowl. Like you can't have an atrocious defense.
I 1,000% agree with you.
Okay,
your defense can't be trash. I agree with
you. So if you ask yourself, if you look at the Carolina Panthers right now, who's ahead? The offense or the defense?
Yeah, the offense is ahead.
Okay. So of course they're going to probably try to focus more on the defense because that's what they need to do.
It's no problem. That's what they did. You see the signings that they invested a lot of money into the defense. So, and that's my point, is that they invested a lot of money into the defense, which means what can you do in the draft is not ignore your offense. That's what we're saying. I think that's what a lot of people are saying.
Oh, I didn't say. Let me be clear. I didn't say I wanted to ignore the offense. My issue is drafting a wide receiver at 8. I don't have a problem with us drafting one in this draft. I just think that we've probably, even though folks aren't a fan of how the first season went for Leggett, you still took him in the first round. So I think you need to invest in a different position in the first round and get another wide receiver somewhere else. That's just all I'm saying.
You just got to get the talent, bro. I don't see that.
Yeah, get the talent. Yeah, get the talent.
I'm not gonna ignore it just because I have a guy on the roster. Just because you have a guy on the roster does not mean, Dave. If we thought like that, then we would not have had Luke Kuechly.
Yeah, we would have probably had Fletcher Cox, which wouldn't have been bad. He had a pretty good career too.
But we took Luke Kuechly. So you just because you draft somebody doesn't mean that you cannot draft. You have to keep swinging, bro, until you get it. Like you can't and especially with the wide receiver position, right? And we'll talk about it later too. But you have to draft your wide receiver 1. You have to. Whether it's the first, second, third, you have to draft your wide receiver 1. You have to. Whether it's the 6th round, the 3rd round, you have to find it. So you have to keep swinging. I don't care if it's the 1st round, the 2nd round. I hear y'all. And I got the breakdown. So we'll talk about that in just a second. Let's finish this conversation with salary cap.
I want to let me quickly do this. Let me quickly do these super chats before they get to shout out to Nate K for the super chat. Shout out to Malik El Dendi. Stop co-signing for Cam. Wasted Talents wasn't a student of the game. I don't know who Wasted Talents is, but probably somebody in the chat.
Talking about Cam he said Cam was a waste of talent. Is that what we're saying?
No, he didn't say that.
He said stop co-signing for Cam.
Stop co-signing for Cam.
Oh, I'm co-signing. Okay, the exclamation point matters. Okay, punctuation matters. Day. Okay,
it does.
My bad.
Stop.
My bad. I skipped it.
Sentence ends.
You're right. Sentence ends.
All right.
Okay, got it. Shout out to Malik. I'm with you, Malik. I'm with you.
Yep. And shout out to Nate K. Defense. We are trying to collapse the center of the pocket so there is less stress on the edge. By the way, you can get a wide receiver 1 later. Amon-Ra is a weapon. Yep. They're out there, man. That's up to our scouts to find them. We got one more. Last question. If one of our top 3 guys go down, do you think a late round pick gets snaps over David Moore?
Yes.
Probably. Absolutely. All right.
So salary cap. Again, just to recap, Rico his contract is not in this. And also Tre'von Moehrig's contract has not been added to over the cap or spot track. So we don't know the exact salary cap number. I'm gonna go out on a limb to say it's under, I would say around 18 million, and you got your draft pick. So we're kind of up against it, but we obviously can create more space too, right? There's ways to restructure and get more space if you want to. I think they're being really, really cautious with that. Obviously, they could have go ahead and restructured Taylor Moton if they were really cash strapped and give him his extension, but has not happened yet. So we're good from a salary cap perspective. I'm not mad at it. I think we're in a solid spot. All right, let's keep it moving. All right, patreon.com/Panther Nation PC, man. We appreciate all the Patreon subscribers, man. We still got some more content coming. Don't fret. I'm looking to get that part 2 with Nishad, the agent. A lot of good conversations there. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a lot more good conversations to be had post draft and post free agency. A lot of good stuff. So shout out to Nishad. We're gonna have a part 2 with him coming up soon. And there's gonna be there's other interviews that I'm working on. So hang tight. Bear with me. Also salute to the franchise and also salute to the free agents, man. Salute to everybody that contributes to the success of the pod, man. We greatly appreciate that. Dave, Underdog.
Yeah, man, make sure you guys go to underdogfantasy.com and make sure when you do use the promo code PNP, they do deposit matches. They're doing a lot of things for March Madness, so go check them out when they during this. So you can see the type of chaos that we just had with St. Francis and Alabama State. Maybe you can win you some money on the same way. So go to underdogfantasy.com and make sure you use the promo code PNP when you do. All right.
Appreciate you. Shout out to Underdog. All right. So I have these slides, biggest needs remaining. So the color code kind of matters. Obviously, red is danger area. So edge rushers. This
stranger danger.
If you look at the right of the screen, that's what we currently have on the roster. Jadeveon Clowney, DJ Warner, Pat Jones, DJ Johnson, Amari Barno. I got news for you. That ain't it. Okay, that's not it. We cannot go into the season with this group. Go ahead, Dave.
Numero uno, guys. Numero uno. Number one.
Okay.
Gotta fix this.
And just to add to that, there are no solid free agents out there to go out there and get to save us. That's there. On the other positions, I have free agents that are available. Maybe we can go out there and sign them. Maybe not. But and I just threw some names out here, guys. I just threw some names out here. I'm not saying that any of these guys should be the pick. I'm just throwing out options, okay? There are more, there are less, okay? Or there are more names to be added. There's some that fit, some that may not fit. I'm just throwing names out there, okay? But what you're going to see is that there's a lot of talent out there, and we got to figure out where to plug these holes. You know what I mean? So Shamar Stewart, first-round pick. Jalen Walker is probably going to be first-round pick. There's some others. Mike Green, like you all said, was mentioned. There's a bunch of guys out there who could potentially be Carolina Panthers in the first round. Dave has continued to say pick edge in the first round. I think Mikael Williams is another name that has been tied to the Carolina Panthers recently. He's another guy from Georgia, a little bit unproven, very similar kind of vein as Shamar Stewart. What you thinking, Dave? What you thinking?
Look, man, I'm still on the Mason Graham's going to be the pick if he's there at 8. If not, we're going to take an edge guy, whether it's Jalen Walker, Shamar Stewart, or the guy you just mentioned from Georgia, Mikael Williams. Like I think Dan Morgan knows what the need is, but I don't. But at the same time, I also believe that he's not going to reach. I think you could, like, Jalen's going to probably go in the top 10. There's been talk about Stewart in the top 10. I'm not so sure about Mikael, but
yeah, I think both Stewart and Walker are fringe top 10. I think that a lot of people are starting to second guess themselves about Walker. I think Walker has to go to a very specific situation, right? He's got that Hassan Reddick in him, in that your team has to know how to play him. You can't put him in a situation and force him to do something he's not that doesn't fit his skill set. He needs to be able to use his athleticism out on the edge. And I don't know that if every team's gonna be willing to kind of deal with that. So I don't know. I could see Walker, if he gets past the Panthers, I could see him taking a little bit of a slide and maybe could fall to near the end of the first. But I don't know. I don't know, man. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. But I think that you got to be careful. And we experienced this in one of our mock drafts. If you pass up on edge, it's top heavy, right? Once you get past a certain name, you're going to start to be dealing with potential rotational type guys and not impact players. And what we need is impact players to come in and help with this edge, bro. We need some help, bro. We need some help.
And that's the thing, right? So like I understand the concern and I understand the need for other positions at 8. However, there's depth at those other positions. Not so much with edge.
Well, I think
Kinda
it is
need to go
deep. It is deep. Edge is deep. Be clear. It's deep, but
there's a big gap after a point from when we take from 8 to 50, 40, whatever we go in the 50s, where our next pick is. There's a significant gap of availability of what you expect out of the edge rush you take with our first two picks. So that's the concern, in my opinion. Like, that's the biggest concern. I know I'm not the biggest fan of like drafting for need. You need to draft where the value's there. The perfect scenario is you get the BPA and the need, you kill at the same time. But I think this is going to take into account whatever decision they decide to make at 8, depending on who's there. Because I don't think you're going to get a start. I like you said, it could potentially be a rotational piece by the time we get in the 50s with the second round pick.
Yeah.
We got one super chat I can hit.
My fault. Real quick. So it says, I seen this scenario in another mock draft floating around saying, will we trade up?
No.
I mean,
no. I don't think it's going to happen. We need a draft capital, bro. No, we need a draft capital, man. All the damn needs we got?
Bro, I don't know, Dave. I might be.
How much are you willing to give up to go up 2 spots?
A future.
It's going to probably cost you a first.
No, it won't. Not 2 spots. Not 2 spots. It's not going to cost you a first, bro. Ain't going to cost you no first.
What's it going to cost you? A second?
Not 2 spots. Probably a second and maybe a third or a future. I don't think it's going to cost you 2 spots to move up, or a first to move up 2 spots.
Bro. I don't know what the chart looks like, but I don't know what the chart looks like,
bro.
Okay.
Let's look it up, man. We ain't got to speculate.
All right, let me do the super chat and I'll look it up. Shout out to Rolly 0515.
Hold that thought. Hold that thought, Rolly. I'm going to get to it. Hold that thought. Because once we get to the receivers, I'm going to answer that question. So hold that thought. I got you, though. Great question.
Right, sure there's no more super chats before I continue. Okay. Let me look this thing up.
Bro, we sitting up here talking about edge. This might be a bigger need than edge right now, bro. Like, we only got 2 on the damn roster, bro. We only got Tre'von Moehrig and Damani Richardson on the roster. Justin Simmons is out there. I don't expect us to pay another safety. I could be wrong. Maybe they're kind of holding out to see what happens with Justin Simmons. He's a bit up there in age too. He does have that connection with Evero, but
I have your answer.
I don't know.
I have your answer. Based on the chart, if we wanted to trade up to 6, you're right. Actually, we want to take a third to do it.
Yeah, bro, it ain't gonna cost that much. And I was sending it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, it'll cost you a third if you wanted to trade up to 6. It'll cost you a second if you want to. It'll probably cost you a second if you want to trade up to 5 or 4. So that's manageable.
Listen. I don't know, bro. If Carter's sitting there, bro, you gotta think strongly, bro. That's playmaker, game record. That's what you need, bro. That's what we need, and that's something we're missing. But back to safety. Safety, again, huge need, bro. We sitting up here talking about edge rushers. At least we got some on the roster. We don't have no safeties on the roster. We only got 2 on the roster. It's not ideal, right? And I think Justin Simmons is a guy that could be out. He's out there, right? He's available, has the connection to Evero, playing in Denver. Some of his best years came up playing under Evero. So could that connection be made again? Maybe. I don't know. But look, I know I see y'all talking about Eman Warrior. I don't know if 8 for Eman Warrior. I don't know, bro. I think if we could trade back to maybe 12, I think that's the ideal scenario, bro, to be honest with you. Because that's going to allow you to get another edge or another wide receiver. If you can trade back, get a couple of additional second-round picks or third-round picks, a couple of additional day 2 picks, that would be the ideal scenario. But it also would depend on who's there. You know what I mean? Because I can't trade back if there's somebody I want right there in front of me. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of scenarios to kind of talk through. But Justin Simmons, man, I don't know what's going on with him. He is old. He's I think he's 31, 32, something like that. But
I say you still go out. You try to see if you can get Justin Simmons and still draft a safety day 2 or day 3, potentially.
no.
Because, bruh, oof. Yeah, I think you're gonna have to do. Yeah, we got to get somebody, man. This is. You could have the argument about this is more of a bigger need. But I still want to do BPA. If the BPA is still the edge guy, take the edge guy. So yeah.
I don't know, bro. This is the need, bro. I like Watts a lot. This is not an expansive list, right? I see y'all talking about Barron, right? I see there's some names out there that I like too that are not on this list. I'm just throwing out names that could be had across the draft, right? It's just potential guys. You know what I mean? So, my fault. But yeah, we definitely gonna need a safety, bro, and we got to find that ASAP because that's not a good look. We only have 2 on the roster, so we got to figure it out. I like Makuba a lot. I like Makuba a lot.
Yep.
All right. Let's keep it going. Cornerback. So cornerback is yellow because I do like the starters that we have. Like you talk about JC, Mike, Shaw Smith, Wade. We can get it done with that, barring injury. Now, injuries where I get a little concerned. What happens?
Well, no, you shouldn't be concerned.
I mean, injuries happen, Dave. You got to have depth.
Nice.
That doesn't. I'm not talking about JC. I'm talking about anybody. You got to have depth, and that's what we're missing right here. So, as far as free agents, you still got Rasul Douglas out there. You got Asante Samuel Jr. out there. Those are just some names that I'm throwing out there. And then obviously, if you're looking at the draft, you want to go cornerback. Will Johnson, it's a first round pick. Trey Amos, Maxwell Harrison, and I like Darian Porter a lot, who can be found between day 2 and day 3. He might be one of the guys I'm looking at, running real fast, 40, tall. I like him a lot. You know what I mean? So just throwing some names out there as far as cornerback is concerned, and this is what we could we could do. But I like the starters. We just need to get some depth here. I'm not really happy with the depth. Dave, what you think?
I would love to see Rasul Douglas back, bro. I liked him when he was here. I know there was talk about having taken Will Johnson. I think Will Johnson is, if there's no edge rushers worth it at 8, then I could see them taking Will Johnson. But then I got to remember that you just re-signed Mike Jackson. You just signed Jaycee Horn to a pretty big deal, and you just drafted Charles Smith-Wade. So then I asked myself, are you ready to invest in a first-round pick on a corner right now? Kind of similar to what I'm doing with the wide receiver position. So I'm just trying to, track it, right? I could see us taking somebody in day 2, day 3 type of situation when it comes to this. Because when I think about it, I think about, all right, if we're talking about taking a guy in the first round, how have we invested in the position? Now, Jaycee Horn's been in the league for a couple of years now. He just got an extension. First round pick, worked out. I know injuries was a challenge initially with him. We hit it with Mike Jackson, and Shaw Smith-Wade, I think, is developing pretty well. So I'm questioning myself on whether or not I think they would take a corner at 8. I could see it if the dominoes fall the right way. But I just question it. And like we've been talking about, bro, free agency isn't over yet. We got a little bit of space. We could still go get somebody. I wouldn't be mad to see Russell back here.
Yeah, I quit. So just thinking about what you're saying about how we kind of built the cornerback room, I don't see us investing another dime in a cornerback. So I just threw those names up there for free agents, but I don't see us spending any more money, which is why I think we're going to end up drafting a cornerback either day 2 or day 3.
Not even if it's like reasonable. Like if you can get somebody on the cheap, you don't think we can? Okay.
No.
All right.
I don't think that's going to happen. This is my opinion. I think we're gonna end up drafting a cornerback and start to develop somebody to take CB2, and that's why I like Darian Porter a little bit later in the third, maybe fourth, second second, third, fourth, depending on where he go. I don't know where he's gonna go. But I like Porter a lot.
All right. So folks are talking about the fact that Will Johnson got hurt, but I want to remind you guys that what happens in college does not mean it's going to be the same when you get into the NFL. Jaycee Horn did get hurt while in college, and that was some of the challenges when he got into the league. So I think we kind of need to pump the brakes with regards to that, because we don't know how it's going to roll when it comes to the league. We don't.
Well, right? I think it's a fair question. You don't want to.
No, it's a fair question, but I don't know if there's like a pure data point, right? Like there's guys that probably got hurt in college and didn't get hurt in the league and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? That's my point. I mean, I understand the concern, but I think sure, Brooks is an example.
Yes, it's valid. I mean, the concern valid. Is definitely valid. That's why guys draft stock fall because of the injury history. It's a thing, right? People don't want to invest high capital in somebody that's injury prone. So I could see him sliding down to. I mean, Farley, same thing, right? When he came out, it was some questions around him and his injury history, and it didn't really work out too well for him. And you know what I mean? So I could definitely see I understand the question around his his injury history, but he's still talented though. He's nice, you know what I mean? So anyway, we'll keep it moving. Next tight end. So free agent wise, Tyler Conklin's out there. I don't see us picking anybody up. We do have two other tight ends on the roster, but I don't think they're going to be on the 53 per se, unless we go out there and we go and get Felipe Franks back. He's not on the roster right now, but Felipe Franks is available too, I believe. We can get him back. As far as the draft, everybody's talking about Tyler Warren. I like Arroyo a lot. You can get Mason Taylor. There's this tight end class is kind of deep. You can find any kind of pause. You can find any kind of tight end, man. There's the receiving tight ends and the blocking tight ends. They're available in this draft. You know what I mean? So I think this is a solid tight end draft for sure. I think I can see us adding one. I know we just drafted one last year, but we're paying Tommy Tremble. He's only on a 2-year deal, so you got to kind of be mindful of that. But I do like Mason Taylor a lot. 2 shots at Kataris. I like Mason Taylor too, but we'll see. We'll see. Dave, what's your thoughts on tight end?
I'm kind of shocked of all to talk about drafting a tight end in the first round.
BPA
at 8.
Warren is nice, bro.
I ain't doubting that, bro. But it goes back to what I've said. We just drafted a guy. We just drafted one last year. I know it doesn't matter. But
doesn't matter. You got talent. Talent is a talent. Dave. You get the talent in here and you figure it out.
When I think BPA, I think it's hard for me to convince me that he could potentially be the 8th best player in this draft.
Have you watched him play?
Dude, you know I don't watch.
Exactly. So of course you couldn't. Of course you couldn't say because you ain't seen him.
Bruh. I mean, we were high on Jatavion coming out the draft too now, and we got him at pretty good value. I mean, we just haven't seen him.
I think Warren is more complete. He's more complete tight end than Jatavion is.
That's fair. You paid Tommy Tremble. Jatavion's here. You drafted Jatavion. He's coming into his second year. Jordan Matthews is Jordan Matthews. I don't think we're going to invest in the free agent.
So let me ask you this, Dave. If I told you in Tyler Warren you were getting just example George Kittle, what would you say? You would be happy to have him at 8, would you?
I wouldn't be mad at that at 8.
Exactly. So
but don't put that on the kid, man. You don't know.
I'm not.
Somebody in the chat said George Kittle 2.0.
I'm just saying, but I'm just giving you an example. I'm not saying that's what he's gonna be. I'm just saying that's where you project him. Like that's what you're thinking you're gonna get out of a guy like Warren. Like that's what you got to go get him, bro. And of course they bust. Every position has busts.
I mean, but I used to have a chart. I gotta find that chart. There used to be a chart that showed up the bust rate in the first round based on position in the top 10. Curious to know what it is for tight end. And no, and by the way, Hunter, I want to let you know something, Hunter. I know this is hard for you to believe. I know it's like a very tough thing to accept. But in the NFL, there's no such thing as a lock. There's no such thing as a lock in the National Football League. They trying to figure this out. They're trying to guess it like everybody else is about whether or not these guys are going to be good or not. There's no such thing as a lock in the league. You know what I'm saying? Never forget, there's a lot of locks in the league. Y'all remember Ryan Leaf? He was a lock. There was a debate between him and Manning. Or Blaine Gabbert. There was a debate between him and Cam. So there's no such thing as a lock in the National Football League. That's all. And yeah, the valid point here. You know, so that's why you got to be careful with them. Folks thought Kyle Pitts was going to be legit too. How's that working out for Atlanta? Okay.
I mean, that has a lot to do with Atlanta though. Atlanta, they not using them right. It's coaching. Coaching matters too. But you know,
okay.
I do anything to replace y'all.
Fine. Shout out to Big Low.
Yeah. All right. Last position we're gonna talk about. And I understand linebacker is a position that, did I hide it?
You might have hit it.
Yeah, I might have hit it. I don't think I. Oh, there we go. I skipped it. I don't know how I skipped it. But wide receiver, we got to talk about wide receiver because y'all know how I feel. I've been on record saying that wide receiver is a major position of need for the Carolina Panthers in order to maximize Bryce Young and his success while he's on his rookie deal. You have to give him more weapons. And I think that we cannot be complacent with this wide receiver group. And again, you got Thielen, you got Leggett, you got Coker, you got David Moore, and right now Chesney, or how do you say his name? I'm sorry, like this group, and y'all, again, I said it earlier, y'all know how I feel about Coker. Y'all know how, again, I like Leggett. Adam Thielen is about to have a walker soon. That's how old he is.
Bro,
okay. We've got to start turning the page and getting younger here. I really need us to invest in the wide receiver position in the draft. And I'm not saying it needs to be Tet. I like Tet, and I think Tet is a good receiver. But if we don't walk away this draft with a solid wide receiver that can fit in this group and be a different skill set, right? Because we got guys that can play the slot. We got XL. All these bigger guys. That's cool. We need a playmaker, bro. Like, we need a shifty guy, somebody that can run routes, somebody that can get open and just be a game changer. And for me, like, he might be my guy for this draft. For me, and I drafted him in the last draft, and he was on the thumbnail. Spoiler alert. I love, and I've been watching more film from this guy. I love Jalen Royals, bro. I think he can be it. I think he could be the guy. And I just so happened to watch Steve Smith's top 10 receivers video.
I have not watched it yet.
He had Jalen Royals as number 5. He moved him up from some other consensus board and had him as number 5. I like Royals. And this is before I even saw that video. So I don't come at me saying, oh, you just like him because Smitty said. No, I like Royals before I saw that video. I also like Higgins a lot. I like Higgins a lot too. Higgins is a taller wide receiver. Nice. I like him too. But we need, and I like Noel too, but all three of those guys at the bottom. If you don't like Ted, cool. We can argue about whether Ted is worth the top whatever pick. Get me one of these dudes in the bottom 3, please.
It goes back to my point from earlier, right? I don't have an issue with taking a wide receiver. My issue is taking one at 8. And you don't think, and I got a random question for you, I'm looking at these free agents. You don't think Adam Thielen can call up his boy Stephon Diggs and be like, yo, man, how about you come to Charlotte to play for a year or 2?
I mean, Diggs comes with some extra stuff, man. I don't know about that.
I'm just asking the question. Maybe you be a little bit more grounded with Thielen there. You know what I'm saying? That's why I thought.
Man, did he leave because of What didn't he leave because they had all them dudes? Didn't he run from that?
I thought Buffalo was desperate to try to get some help for freaking Josh Allen. They needed a guy. I thought it was more than that. Yeah, I think it was more than that. I think
he's he's 31, bro. I don't. Is he?
I like Cooper too, but I think Cooper's going to cost a lot. I like Cooper too. I'm just asking these questions, man.
No, I mean I get it. I'm the one that put him on the slide, so I
have an inkling that I think Carolina's going to probably sign a wide receiver. That's not David Moore. I don't think they're done yet.
I would be disappointed if they did that.
Really?
Yeah.
Even if they sign Keenan Allen on a hometown discount? He is from Greensboro.
I need the future. Listen, Dave, you've been trying to make us the AARP receiving core of the league.
I'm not trying to make you the AARP receiving core. I'm just trying to get the crowd to shut up about a wide receiver one. And all three of these guys could be that. That's my point. All three of these guys you put up here could be wide receiver ones. All of them.
Give me Royals, man. I want Royals.
And you can still draft Royals. Like, I'm not trying to stop you from drafting Royals. You just beat me up talking about, well, you can do both. You can still get one of these guys and still draft Royals, and I wouldn't have a problem with it.
Here's the issue, though. One underrated factor that nobody's really talking about is who is returning kicks and punts for us right now. I'm asking. I'm serious question.
Hey, look, man.
Leggett,
Can Rico return? Can't Rico do returns?
I don't know.
I think he can. I think Rico can do that. I have to double check. But that's the reason why. That was kind of the reason why I was like, if we were going to draft a running back, the guy I wanted to draft was Tootin. Besides the Aggie Pride and all that, Virginia Tech, he can return kicks and punts. So he fixes 2 and 1. This is kind of why I was open for Tootin. I don't know if Gentry or any of the other guys can do it, but I know Tootin can. He can do both. And you probably can get him. You probably can get him in the 3rd, maybe the 4th. But
I don't know, man.
But Rico can do it. Maybe David Moore can do it. Because that's what's going to keep somebody like that on the roster. I know what you want.
Yeah, I'm trying to get him off the roster. That's part of the problem. I want to get David Moore up out of here. Respectfully. Respectfully, bro.
No, I'm with you, man. You know what would help is to get David Moore off the roster? You draft a guy and you pick up one of these free agents.
No, we only need one other guy.
No, we need 2.
Okay, fair. If you don't like Chesney, Chesney can return, or Chesina, whatever how you say his name, he can return kicks too, I think.
I mean, like right now, when we look at the 5 here, right? You look at Thielen, Leggett, Coker, Moore, Chesney. I think the top 3 are safe. I think that's a fair assessment. I think the top 3 are safe. You can pick up 2 more guys potentially.
Yeah.
You can pick up 2 more guys. If you guys don't want David Moore on the roster, you can pick up 2 guys.
And shout out to so I'm sure you saw it on X. I know Robbie or Chosen, Anderson was was talking about trying to come back to the Carolinas. Dave, did you see his interview with Sheena?
Not yet. I haven't watched it yet. I heard about it though.
Yeah, he's been talking. Yeah, he's been talking about trying to come back, pleading his case. Yeah, I mean, pleading his case to come back. I'm good. How old is Robbie? Robbie old too, ain't he?
How old is Robbie? That's a good question.
He up there, I think.
His last good year was with us, though.
Facts. He ain't done nothing since he left the Panthers. He 31 too.
Yeah,
AARP.
Don't do that, man. Yo, man, we can't do that, man. We can't be out here calling folks AARP at 30, man. That's not fair.
Bro, we got to get younger, bro.
Yeah, we can't be out here. I don't disagree with you, but we can't be out here calling these cats AARP. I mean, I wouldn't be mad at it, but in that case, you might as well sign Cooper, Diggs, or Allen. If that's the case. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're gonna sign somebody, you should sign Cooper, Diggs, or Allen. If you're gonna
give me Royals.
You can still get Royals. Yo, man. I'm looking at the chat about the 30-year-old senior citizens is hilarious. And I gotta quit calling Rob. He's Chosen now. I gotta remember that.
Shout out to Chosen, man. Hey, so that I know I understand linebackers also a need, but I did not have linebacker up here. We also need a kicker. For those that don't know, you know what I mean? We got Pinero not coming back. So definitely kickers a need as well. Dave, any other final thoughts on the needs for the Carolina Panthers and how we're going to address them?
I think we're not done yet, and I think we're going to sign another wide receiver soon. That's what I think. I don't think we're done. I think we're gonna pick up another wide receiver in free agency.
Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna pick up another wide receiver, but I think it's gonna be interesting. I don't think we should be resting on our laurels here.
No, we shouldn't. I just think that if folks are so, hey, we need to get another receiver. It all depends on what the front office thinks, right? If they think they have a shot to win the division this year, I could see them going after a free agent wide receiver. And I think they have a shot to win the division this year. So why wouldn't they go after free agent wide receiver? So that's just my opinion on it. I don't know if I want to. I'm not on a Tyler Lockett sweepstakes though. I can tell you that right now.
ARP, bro.
Now, you want to talk about somebody old? We got to pick a line in the 30s of when too much is too much.
Yeah, I'm cool, man. We need to get younger. We need to start developing we need to get a wide receiver that we can develop into a true wide receiver one, that somebody's gonna hit the ground running. And I think Royals and Higgins can do that. I think either one of those two, and there's some others too. But yeah, we definitely got to get it going from that perspective. All right. Anything else, Dave, we got to talk about?
There's one thing I want.
Whoops, sorry, Dave.
There's one thing I want to mention before we adjourn. In Charlotte, you probably even know about this, bro. Like, I don't know if you remember
the HBCU tournament thing.
Yeah, man. So
how did I know you was gonna bring that up?
I mean, look, man, it's
You're so
dope.
Predictable, bro.
I can be predictable at times. The Black College Invitational Championships this weekend. Y'all should check it out. They had a golf tournament today. They got a space tournament. I'm kind of mad I didn't go down for it. But yeah, tickets still on sale. You just go out there and check out in Charlotte. They got a lot of events going on this weekend. I know they primarily focus on Division II, so they got John C. Smith playing, Clark Atlanta playing. Should be a good weekend. But back to the wide receivers. Matthew Golden.
I like him too.
You like him? Is he worth it at 8?
It's gonna be first round. No, I wouldn't say that.
So Tet's worth it at 8, but not.
I like Tet, bro.
Okay. I haven't watched Steve Smith's top 10, but I know a lot of folks was talking about it. I guess he
had Golden at 1. He had Tet at 2.
Okay.
I do not know who else was in between that.
It's on the list to do tomorrow. I'm gonna watch it tomorrow while I'm at work. Put it on the headphones. But other than that, man, I'm done. I'm done for the show. You know, it's been fun.
All right. So with that said, man, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, notification bell, all that stuff, man. Getting out of here for the evening. We will see y'all a little bit later. And we'll holler at y'all, man. Peace out.
All right. Peace.
Oh, one super chat. My fault. Going over McMillan all day for our offense. Hey, I ain't mad at it.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it, but peace, guys.
Peace out, y'all.